Hey everyone, this is Crypto Gordon Freeman, and you are listening to the Club 21M podcast. I'm excited to say that this is my 7th episode. So I'd like to give a shout out to AAA Archangel Alts. And this episode, normally I would probably give another couple of days before working on another one, but I want to get this out before Saturday, the 7th of August, because there's a lot of very time restrictive, time important stuff happening in the United States of America. So this episode is a short angle lens, maybe looking at some of the broader long-term implications about regulations in crypto. And this is obviously going to be something that comes up many times over, but I'm going to be specific about an area that interests and concerns me. So if you would, please like, share, ring the bell so you'll know when these things are coming out, and leave comments, but let other people know about this podcast. That's how it will grow. And if it grows, I get to do more of this. So that'd be really cool. So in particular, there's been a lot of ongoing stuff. If you're in the crypto space, you probably already know about Ripple and XRP and the SEC coming against them for needing to be a registered security. That's one of those things out there. In crypto, there's always different concerns of things like 51% attacks happening to BSV. And I think last year there was one or maybe even two to Ethereum Classic. Although I got to tell you, I really like Ethereum Classic. I'm not really currently trading them, but I always like to try to pay attention to what's happening with them because I think they're cool. And Ethereum is going through all the growth pains that go along with ETH 2.0. And they're very excited about proof of stake and getting away from the environmental junk that goes along with crypto mining. But of course, you still got to run the network on your computers. So maybe proof of stake is just adding an extra layer on top of proof of work. And maybe they end up with problems in both categories. Who knows? But, all these things, hacks to exchanges and people getting tricked by spam email asking for their addresses. These things are just normal stuff that happens in crypto land because it happens. But welcome to the United States of America, where apparently something that's much more important than freedom or people being able to make their own informed decisions about things is the ability for big government to get bigger and to regulate every single thing that you do and eventually every thought in your head and what you're allowed to do with your body. And I think that stinks. And I think that it shouldn't matter in comparison to what other countries are doing at all. I think that the American ideal of independence and freedom and self-governance is taking a big old slap in the face. So most recently, we had a panel with FSOC, which is Senator Warren and gang, and a few good guys like Senator Lummis. Somebody let me hear an audio clip so I know the right way to say her name. But what is that, Wyoming? So we have some good guys in Florida and Texas and maybe Wyoming, if I have that right. Golly, that'd be ridiculous if I didn't. Who are looking to attract good energy agreements and arrangements for electricity use, renewable energies being very proactive and future-seeking solutions to have miners, to have crypto industry-related things. We have groups trying to charter banks, Kraken trying to become a bank. Kraken, release the Kraken. All these different things that are great that are going on. And then there's New York being the heaviest regulation to get in our country, but New York, the state, just wants to ban everything and say everything is bad. And it's very interesting how it's usually the bankers and investment firms that are allowed to do stuff and, in fact, encouraged to do stuff. And my inkling, because I inkle, is that we're going to see a trend towards everything from banks to PayPal to investment firms looking to buy up and hoard Bitcoin because it's the logical, practical thing to do. And by the time the rest of the world is really privy to just how extreme the inflation actually is, you'll see it in the prices. You'll never hear the truth from the government about that. By the time we're in the extremes in inflation, they will own, probably another million or so Bitcoin. And I'm just going on A lot of time, my instinct ends up being mathematically correct later on. But let's just say that there's 4 billion Bitcoin floating out there that could remain circulating through exchanges or could end up getting swallowed up and moved to private wallets for eternity. And in which case we have a real push on supply and the price go way up. I think that it's probably in the 2 to 4 million Bitcoin range. And I think that this is the year that everybody that's got the money to do so wants to grab up 1 million of that or so. We'll see. 1 million of those Bitcoins or so. We'll see. Regardless, one of the ways to benefit from being part of the crypto ecosystem, if you will, is to encourage mining. And if you had, let's say, 100 different countries encouraging pro-mining solutions through either good, cheap electricity that's going to be used however it's used anyway, or going deeper into renewables and finding better solutions than the renewables we have now. So that's a whole thing unto its own. But let's just assume that proof of work and proof of stake are allowed to continue in the direction that they've been going. Can they continue to pick up steam under heavier scrutiny, heavier regulation? Now, if you're in a country like the United States of America and the category of classification for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin are essentially that you can buy them and you can store them, you can hold them, you can custody, you can move them to a wallet. We just want to know who you are, how much you got, and that you're not trying to sell them without paying taxes. When you sell them, there are cap gains. And if you're in a low earning category, you may not owe anything. If you make a little bit of money, you might pay a little bit on taxes. If you make a lot of money, you might pay an unfair amount in taxes. Right now, it's still below 40% of your earnings. My goodness, below anything more than 10% is extreme in my opinion. And you want to talk about the way that you choke out wealth, that's how you choke it out. But it encourages the motivation behind these things where will be not as much taxes, but just less trading activity or more hidden trading activity. People are going to look for ways not to have to unfairly give away the fruits of their extremely hard labor. Speaking as a day trader, I don't want to dance around laws, but I want laws to make sense. And if the laws say we're perfectly willing to allow you to do this thing that you'd like to do, we just want to make sure that it doesn't make any sense. Okay, I'm not cool with that, and you shouldn't be either. Two very specific things I want to talk about. The July 27th hearing with FSOC, with Senator Warren and gang, and the good guy being Senator Lummis. It's spelled like Lummis, but it's got to be Lummis. Okay. What is wrong with me? I won't just listen to a clip. It's more interesting for you, the listener, to wonder along with me, or to say, you're so stupid, Gordon, how do you not know this already? But that was specifically cryptocurrency. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Oh, say it again, yo. They didn't use the whole line. They just used cryptocurrency. What is it good for? So obviously I mirrored that in my, probably 4th episode, somewhere around there, where I did stable coins. What are they good for? Absolutely a lot of things. Because stable coins are going to be heavily under fire. So there was that thing on the 27th. And now we have this big bloated multi future year infrastructure bill that is a bipartisan infrastructure bill. We must update our roads and blah, 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 blah. But really what it is tax, more taxes. Hidden in there, and I'm not sure why people don't care about this, but is a per mile travel tax that will be imposed on everybody. And Biden had actually said that he was against anything that affected anybody under $400,000, earns less than $400,000. Well, this would impact every single person on the road. So if you're an Uber driver and if you're an Uber Eats, if you're one of these people that have figured out how to make the gig economy work in your local market, then it's going to hit every single person on the road. And that stinks. But specifically, what is cryptocurrency doing inside of an infrastructure bill to begin with? And they have said that over the years that it will help bring in an extra $28 billion in tax revenue. Now, we have become numb to hearing millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, billions. Folks, $1 million is $1,000,000. $1 billion is $1,000 million. $1 billion is a lot of money. And you might think, well, it's spread out over an entire country. Well, yeah, you have 150 million. Let's just say we have 350 million people, and 150 million of them are old enough to have jobs and pay taxes. 150 million people, $28 billion in tax revenue over a matter of years from even 100 million people is a lot of money. And they're just looking at wanting to make sure that everything is end-to-end KYC. And so they wanted to broaden the spectrum of anybody that is involved in the technology of making wallets, anybody that is involved in any form of custody that passes crypto from one place to another, to classify them as a broker. Okay, well, decentralized mining networks would make every single anonymous person in a mining network a broker. So there is a battle between two groups of legislators who want to intensify the language of the infrastructure bill to make sure that there is capture for everything. And in one direction, it affects proof of stake more. In the other direction, people are interpreting that it affects proof of work more. Both of them seem to be concerned that it affects DeFi entirely. So can you KYC a decentralized exchange that is allowing staking, for instance? The answer is legally no if you're in the US. And, I, as a trader, have found it almost impossible to do the strategy that works for me, even anywhere inside the US, because I do high frequency trading when I can. It's becoming very difficult in such a highly fear-based regulatory environment market. But even more so, I need very low or no fees and good volume. And those things, I'm sorry, but Singapore and some of the others are killing it, and the US stinks. Our volume's not good, and our commission fees are too high. Now you can say, well, you can trade on Voyager, you can trade on Robinhood, and you don't pay any commission fees. That's true, but you're giving away the entire spread to them. So what does it help you if you save 0.4% in transaction fees, but you can't get within 2% of the actual price that you want to buy at in order to make a fraction of a percent in profit? It doesn't help. It doesn't work. So you may not understand what I'm talking about. You might buy and intend to hold for 10% gains or 100% gains or whatever kind of crazy stuff you're doing out there, you wacky people. But the bottom line is that regardless of any regulation coming or going, if they're not just trying to flat out ban proof of work, which is where Senator Warren was coming from 2 months ago, and she's been appealing to Yellen, good old Yellen, and whatever it is that Gary Gensler of the SEC is trying to crack down on. If you're not just trying to ban it, you're trying to regulate so that they know every transaction that's happening, and they can scare the other members of Congress into how scary the technology is and we need to clamp down on regulation. Then what you're really doing is curving behavior, and it's social engineering to define what kind of trading actually makes sense. So you're actually going to be encouraging people to buy and hold, because if you buy, you don't pay taxes. They're still going to be aware, and your brokers are going to report that you bought something, but until you sell it, it doesn't matter. So, okay, there's that whole thing going on with cryptocurrency. What is it good for? FSOC, Senator Warren wanting to scare us into heavy-handed socialism. Sorry, guys, but that's what it is. And then there's the infrastructure bill, which is looking to falsely categorize everybody that has their hands on somebody's crypto coming or going will end up being a broker. And they're going after wallets. They're going after the ledger technology. They're going after anybody that is a platform, anybody that's an exchange. They don't seem to want the clarity that fixes this and gives us regulatory clarity. So I have become one of those people that understands that in the United States of America, we're not going to get less regulation on crypto. So therefore, what we want is a fast move on clear regulation, and then leave it the heck alone. Get out of our way. Let us do our thing. Because we understand that if we're in the US and we want to get something from the bank to an exchange, we're going to be KYC'd. So we can either not do it at all, or we can go dance around some black market somewhere where we pay people in person to give us their crypto and put it in a private wallet and wait around for the day that the developers, the programmers of these wallets are forced to KYC everybody that uses their wallet. I've been saying it for a while. People have been poo-pooing me, but here we are. Now people understand that, yes, you can control the market. You can steer it in a direction. And if you're outside the US saying, well, thank goodness we don't have to deal with that, you will, because what happens here impacts everywhere else. Exchanges will either ban the US, which means your volume is going to go down. Sorry, but VPNs do not solve this because it's needing to get from US bank accounts onto an exchange, which means that the money is tracked no matter what. But there's the deeper issue that this is really about the CBDC digital dollar wars. Digital yuan, CBDC central bank digital currencies, the digital dollar, the digital euro, all these things are coming. And what they want is not just to know when a transaction in crypto is taking place, but complete total surveillance end to end of everywhere that everybody's money goes all the time. This data will be tracked to be used for political affiliation, for social engineering. The thought police will be in your wallets and pocketbooks all the time. No, it's not a good thing. No, it's not what we want. But that's what the real war is here. That's why I did the topic on stable coins. What are they good for? Absolutely a lot of things. Because that's what they're really getting to. This is going to be digital dollar versus stable coins. And it's just around the corner. I know it is. I'm not wrong about this. People who are saying, well, if you're a hodler, then it doesn't matter. You don't care what happens to USDT, blah, 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 blah. Yes, you do. Volume matters, liquidity matters, control matters, freedom matters. So even if you don't like stable coins, you don't use stable coins. Let's say you do trade, but you trade between Bitcoin and a lot of other crappy coins, or you trade between the top coins and Bitcoin, then that's swell. That's great. But a lot of the effect of the flow of liquidity is going to impact everybody. And the scares are going to chase a lot of people out of crypto completely. And that's what the banks and investors want, because they want all of the Bitcoins. Bitcoin is going to matter as a place to park your assets while inflation eats up everybody else's money. It's just the way that it's going to go. And it'll be very easy. Let's say you end up with $1 million in Bitcoin. You will be able to borrow against your Bitcoin, and the interest in that loan will be much smaller than the loss of the value of the dollar in inflation. So you could actually put some of the other money that you borrow into staking and other DeFi related stuff, which is why they're trying to control these markets. It's a circular thing. So looking at the regulatory climate, there is this person named Angela Walch. I don't want to misstate their name. So it's spelled Walch. They are a professor at St. Mary's. They are interested in law and legal matters surrounding blockchain and cryptocurrency. And in their Twitter profile, and I'm sure other profiles, they say, own no crypto. And they just made the statement yesterday, which I got a like from them for recognizing that there's no mistaking what they're saying, is that they are very anti-crypto. They are not pro-crypto. They want the legislators to heavy-handed as possible, clamp down on cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. They are, in my opinion, a very clearly painted bad player in the space. They do not have any good intentions about allowing people to decide what they wish to do with their own money. So really at the center of this topic, I want to break down some of the things that she presented when she testified to Senator Warren, FSOC, and the cryptocurrency. What is it good for? Now, her research is good and her concerns are valid. The problem is that they are not entirely true, and I don't know if they realize that or not, but there is a discussion, an argument, a deliberation to happen, not just a one-sided, here's what's really scary about crypto, and all you guys are just, you've got to get rid of this stuff. It's bad stuff. I don't necessarily understand the mentality of somebody that puts so much time and effort into researching something that they don't want to see succeed. So that to me sniffs of academia that has a socialist tinge of intention, that wants more government, more power, more control of markets, and less freedom of thought and decisions and investment. Sometimes, I'm not making an accusation, but sometimes these things take place because they are paid to do so. Their research is very well funded. Maybe that's the case with Walch. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm not going to be unfair to pigeonhole them in that way. And perhaps outside of our disagreement about this topic, they're a very pleasant person I don't know. So this is not going to be some kind of personal attack at all. They have every right to think all the negative things that they do about cryptocurrency. They have every right to be in academia and teach all the warning signs of stuff. And I would agree with them about what the problems are. I just think I have witnessed since 2017 being actively in the market that we are an incredibly resilient, self-governing entity. What it means, for example, if you have Telegram groups where people want to follow different coin projects that they're interested in, every single one of those has imposters and really tricky people looking to steal your addresses, get you to dox yourself with them, pretending to be customer support. You have a lot of the same Nigerian scams that you have in email spam. You have all these different things going on. And every group knows to warn people that if somebody asks you certain questions in direct messages, that it did not come from them. Do not get scammed. Read the pinned documentation before you do anything in this group. The warnings are there. Still, any active group has people saying, so-and-so just wrote me, and are they the real one? And, if they ask the question instead of just being stupid and giving their information up to a stranger, everybody in the group will help them. They'll say, don't answer them. They're not real. Ask your question here. Here's the email support. Ask them there. Do this, do that. Don't, they'll never ask for your ID. They'll never ask for your personal information when you're direct messaging, et cetera, et cetera. Tech support, questions, whatever. So communities help each other. People identify problems. Whenever there's a scam, people pass it through social media, through Telegram, through other places. Watch out for so-and-so. They've created a fake account. If somebody asks you for this, blah, 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 blah. There's been some funny activity on such and such exchange. Get your money off of there, or, take your own risks, blah, blah, blah. These things don't happen nearly as often as you would think they do. When they do, the community gives a heads up in every direction. Crypto Gordon had a lousy 2020 and an incredible trading year, second half of 2020. And given that, he did not get individually, personally scammed, but one of the exchanges that he traded on got hacked. Now, we didn't give nearly enough attention to the situation that happened here. In China, it was huge. The people that did not disclose that they were becoming illiquid, them and their family members who had been benefiting from their profits, people went in person and surrounded their homes and would not allow them to leave until the police got involved, and police were not getting involved. In this situation, I did what I thought was the smart thing to do. I became very active in several online communities. I made sure that every single person in these groups knew what was happening with this exchange. I wrote articles. I created blogs and sent people to those. I put the pressure on the people and what they were saying they were going to do about it. I knew that there was the smell of an exit scam going on, and I was one of a very small list of 400-something people out of tens of thousands of people that got taken on this exchange that got 99% of my money back. Okay, so there was an exchange that was shutting down. They were illiquid. If I said it was a hack, I was wrong to say it was a hack. It wasn't a hack. They lied and said it was a hack. It wasn't. It was the head of this thing, very distinguished person. People in the industry, at the top of the industry, know him, were wanting to vouch for them personally. He's written books on blockchain. He created the entire concept, the category of the platform coin. And so this is not like an unresearched thing. It could happen to anybody. But the thing is that if you bust your butt as a community and you get extremely active and you're not lazy, even in the worst situations, I saw the resilience of the crypto community. It made me like them better. I had two other things happen back to back right after that. My trading, when I'm able to do it well on a platform that treats me right, I start to profit even though I have very small amounts of capital to work with. I begin to profit very quickly. I'm very good at what I do. And they look at this and they say, oh, we don't want you making money. We want to steer you into binary futures and, can you guess the price of Bitcoin in 15 minutes and all this kind of stuff. It is a casino. They're running it like a casino, and everybody gambles and loses. I don't. I trade spot. I don't do any margin, any leverage. I don't play any tricks, and I earn. And I think that I've made 10 bad calls in the past year. And that's out of probably 12,000 trades. I don't think that's too bad. So I don't say that to brag. I'm saying that I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. So let's look at some of the things that Walch talks about. They talk about that if there is a technical problem, it could be severe. It could affect the entire network. And the example, though she's not specifically talking about it, is the one that goes all the way back to the Ethereum Classic hard fork. Ethereum early in its days got set up and it ran into the double spend problem, and somebody stole a bunch of stuff and it was painful, and they rolled things back and they said, let's try it again. And they fixed some things and then they moved forward. A lot of people that did not like the changes that they made to Ethereum, they hard forked and they found their own solutions to keep Ethereum the way that it really was. But by doing their own way, finding their own solutions to fix the same things. So Ethereum Classic became a thing. Ethereum went on to become what it is. And what was the result? Was the entire economy that's centered around Ethereum, which now involves thousands of ERC20 tokens that are built on top of Ethereum. It involves the trading platforms for NFTs that are all ERC20 that are built on top of Ethereum. Ethereum trades in the billions of dollars every single day, 24-hour volume. And it's used as the scare to say that if we allow this cryptocurrency stuff to continue as it does, unregulated, unwatched by these seedy, shadowy supercoders that we don't know who they are, we need to take the anonymity out of it. We need to take the pseudo-anonymity out of it. We need to get rid of the veiled privacy of all these things and bring everybody out in the open where we know exactly what they're doing. And if we're going to allow these things to occur, then they need to be heavily regulated so they're brought inside the law. Well, they are operating inside the law. And you are talking about technology. And it is technology that deals with money. So we already know the money that comes in. And money that comes in that's already been documented, you should leave it alone and let it do what the person wishes to do with it inside a network. Now, I don't know about you, but it does not make me, Gordon Freeman, feel safer if everybody that is trading with me knows everything about me, where I came and went. If you disagree with that, then please, would you respond to this in the comments by posting your bank account number and your logins? Because don't be hypocritical. That's all I'm saying. So the warning of, you're dealing with money, you're dealing with entire economies, and if there was a glitch or a bug or just some bad programming, that the entire world's economy could be affected, and it could cause a chain reaction to affect even those that don't want to be involved in crypto. Well, these things are true, except for how's the government do with these kind of things? Because what you're really doing is protecting the paved road towards the CBDC, the centralized bank digital dollars, the centralized bank digital currency, which is the digital dollar. Okay. How's the government do with their programming? Because government blockchain that is designed for surveillance, somebody's going to hate it and somebody's going to hack it. What's going to happen to all of our money? What's going to ensure that? Printing more money? Is it going to be FDIC insured? Maybe, possibly. How long are claims going to take to go through? What happens to the money in our bank versus the money in digital and all these different things? There is benefit to the government using the same technology to do a good job. Frankly, they should hire the programmers and engineers from Bitcoin Core and Ethereum and the other different groups, smart groups like Geek. They should use these programmers that know what they're doing if they're going to make government issued stuff. But they also really need to allow the market to do what it does. So anyway, there was that aspect of things. There was concern over DeFi. There was concern over a lot of different things, but certainly specific to the miners. So before I get into Walch's point about the miners, specifically looking a little more on the programmer side of things, I think it's very important to understand that the top coins are open source technology. The open source means that they are not benefiting directly from keeping private information private. The world of people in the thousands who are interested in crypto are looking for ways to hack the top coin's programming code so that they can help to improve it and make sure that bad things don't happen. So the smartest people in crypto are trying to let people know what the vulnerabilities are so they can be fixed. And so that is happening all the time. And once again, I would like to ask how often you have heard directly from your banks to tell you that your information was compromised, and here's your free thing to be able to check your credit score, see if your identity is already sitting on the dark web. Most of the time, they don't even bother telling you that the thing happened. But if you're with a major bank, you've been doxxed. You've lost your data. That doesn't seem like a great way to work. It seems like the opposite of open source, which is what the majority of crypto is doing. Now, Richard Hart Hex, huge project, big deal. And unless I'm remembering this wrong, Richard, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that it is not open source. I think that he is keeping the intellectual property rights of his creation. He's had it very highly scrutinized by 2 different firms. I think he said he spent $60,000 having it audited for safety, for security, for quality, make sure that that experts agree that it does what it says it will do. And thus far, a year or so into Hex, and it's going fine. He has every right to do that. He created code and it's working. And he's not breaking the law doing what it is that he's doing with it. So hats off to you, Richard. So now getting into the Walch arguments about miners. We don't know who they are. And there is MEV, which I'm going to deal with on a whole separate thing. I'm not going to deal with it with this. But it is a legitimate security issue and financial structure issue. But one that I would say does not disrupt the majority of what's happening in crypto most of the time. So it's a legitimate issue, and leave it to the experts and the hackers to find good solutions. Don't regulate it. Regulators, whether they're smart or dumb, their regulation operates like idiots. And it doesn't help any of the process find solutions. It just makes things tougher on everybody. So the problems with the miners that Walch brought up deals with something that she's calling front running. Now, front running in markets is something that Wall Street is notorious for, and it's a real problem. And it's something that, as technology has gotten more and more advanced, has become a bigger issue. There are people who are firms that handle client money in the hundreds of millions of dollars that used to be able to look for a good move for their clients and buy, and they were the price that they went in at because they're watching the market. They're choosing when to go in. And when they hit the strike price, and there's plenty of volume for people willing to sell at that price, they would be able to get in tens of millions of dollars at a time and do their job. Front running made it to where you had people on the inside programming bots to automatically outbid somebody's bid, not only by being able to analyze from the back-end technology, the API, what a trade was that was coming in, but within microseconds to be able to say, okay, let's say somebody wants to buy Bitcoin at 40,000 and it's only going to sit at 40,000 for a second before it goes up to 42, let's say. Okay. Somebody has $10 million they want to buy at 40 and they understand the amount of slippage. They're going to get a good deal on it. There's plenty of volume to do what they're doing. They're professionals. They understand. And somebody creates technology that comes in that the second that it reads that somebody has put in a trade for $40,000, $10 million of Bitcoin to buy at 40K, their technology tells them that has come in before we place the trade, a microsecond ahead of them. We're going to put in a $10 million trade for $40,000 and a penny. And so by having a microsecond advantage over the other person, they were able to get in and essentially steal their trade. So now, can they still get in when the price goes up to 40,100? Sure. Unless the next micro trade was also able to budget to buy that. So it will run the price up, and those types of things happen on the market all the time. And the regulation has been intentionally lax to watch out for the insiders to allow them to have an advantage. That's not cool. That's not fair. So it means that people who really, really want to get in on price action will get desperate and they'll do market buys, meaning that the price will fluctuate upwards to cover whatever volume is currently available, instead of locking in limit buy orders that may just become irrelevant by the time that special moment in time has passed. So front running is a thing I know about. It's an issue, and it happens on markets, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot that a whole lot of places or people can do about it, except the fact that good exchanges get good customers, and they get bad customers too. But if all of the order books on all the exchanges just sucked and you had front running everywhere that you turned, people would find other solutions. They'd find some other way to do things. But there are examples of exchanges that they have bots that are doing market making that is not intended to squeeze out other people's legitimate trades. And in fact, market making is a legal thing that's done in every market in every country. But wash trades are illegal, and you're not supposed to buy and sell at the exact same price to yourself. That's a whole different thing from making markets, which is basically helping to provide liquidity where it is needed. So it's a complex issue that is not a crypto specific issue, but front running. One of the other things that we see in the actual markets, at least in the US, is people putting their trading facilities literally in proximity as close to the actual market's machines as possible, like literally running their wires as short a distance directly into the facilities as they possibly can to get microsecond advantages over other traders. That, in my opinion, should not be illegal. That somebody going the extra mile to try to get the best trade in that they possibly can, and that they're dealing with large enough sums of money that it makes a difference to them whether they're the one that gets their trade in. So I kind of have intentionally not made it my methodology to rely down to even the split second. I wait at least minutes to strike on a good price that I am confident of that the swing upwards is going to do the tiny little bit of profit that I need it to do. So front running, that's a thing. But this was dealing specifically with the miners front running, which what they're talking about, what Walch is talking about, is the concern that people have all these different transactions. Once again, Ethereum is the example that is usually given, but it's true with every single blockchain that has a fee attached. Okay, the people that are running their mining computers are paying for computers, paying for employees, paying for electricity. They have a right to take a profit from transaction fees. When transactions come in, people who are knowledgeable about crypto will program in what they think of as a reasonable fee, and the higher the traffic, the higher the minimum fee is going to be. That's a free market thing, but it's also a free market problem. If those fees get unreasonably too high when something like Ethereum is being traded the heaviest, people are going to say, okay, this isn't working for me. I'm going to try another coin. That's how free market works. If you have $1,000 that you want to move in Ethereum and you want to do it for a couple of bucks and you cannot get that through, then you might say, okay, my experience with Ethereum has not been what I would like it to be. I'm going to try Litecoin. It cost me 20 cents and it moved 10 times faster. Front running, according to Walch, is a problem where they get to manipulate markets by choosing whose transactions can go through and whose cannot. What I see most of the time is that Ethereum as a platform is looking to resolve the high gas fees. Gas is what transaction fees are paid in. The high gas fees by improving things in their own network. They want to increase the volume of transactions that can happen, and they want to decrease prices so that there's a better flow of funds and that more people are happy for getting their transactions through cheaply. And the miners are going to end up having a lower processing load to be able to get more transactions through quicker, cheaper. So they'll end up having to earn more by doing more transactions as opposed to overcharging for the few that go through. But we do not have days or weeks of mempools getting stuck with transactions that don't ever go through. If your transaction times out or is canceled, you were too cheap compared to what the market had at that time. If you don't like it, get rid of your coin and go into something else. So this is something that I think is a little bit ridiculous that Walch is intentionally either undereducated herself about the topic, or intentionally misleading legislators to think that things are much worse than they actually are. Let's say you have $1,000 in Ethereum and you cannot move your transaction through the network because they want to charge you $100 for gas fees because everybody's trying to move their Ethereum right now. You have it in your own personal wallet. What can you do? You can swap Ethereum for something else. A swap might charge you 1 to 5%, maybe even something ridiculous higher than that. You can do all sorts of things. You can move your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, your Litecoin anywhere around the world anytime you please. The only place to move your Ethereum is not on the Ethereum network. You could switch your Ethereum for Litecoin. You find out that transactions cost X amount for Litecoin at that hour that you're trying to do something. Sell your Ethereum to Litecoin, download your Litecoin to your wallet. Now you're holding essentially the same market value in something else, and your $1,000 moved where it needed to. This is a free market. If there's too long a line at the Chevron and their price is 10 cents higher than everybody else, go across the street to the Quick Trip and get your gas there. It's not that complicated. And to suggest that the front running from miners is something that could destroy economies is, I'm sorry, but it is academically ignorant, because what you have inside crypto is an instantaneous liquidity that does not exist in non-crypto markets. Do you think that people that would need to interact between, let's say, a digital yuan and a digital dollar dealing directly with the central banks that handshake work directly with those two governments will have the same freedom of movement of their funds and dealing with something that's less of a structured headache than front running in transaction fees on an Ethereum network? Do you think they're going to have an easier time with the digital dollar than they do with Ethereum? You got $20,000 of Ethereum that you can't get running through the network because you only want to pay $3 in fees. What are you going to do? You could do just about anything to solve that. If you don't know what to do, then the problem's with you. You haven't done your research. So I do agree with Walch. Front running is an issue. It's there. The miners do get to a certain degree, handpick the transactions they're willing to work with. But eventually, all of those transactions that are within the window of time that makes sense to the economy inside of Ethereum at that time, all of them get cleared. Some of them get done first. The others take a little bit longer. We all understand that the cheaper you go on your fees that you're willing to pay, the longer you're going to wait. So you pay a premium to move it quickly. If you don't like it, you can trade it into a million other things. The main thing you don't want to do is to buy a crappy coin that you get stuck with, and then you are dealing with front running with miners for a coin that isn't operated well. Don't buy crappy coins, but even those, sell them for a bad price and get out of them. It was your due diligence that you didn't do. You made a bad decision. We've all made one bad decision in crypto, at least. Get out of it, learn your lesson, move on to something else. Okay, so then let's talk ransomware. Okay. I am of the opinion that the ransomware situation where our government got taken, the pipeline thing that happened, and they got, more than half of the Bitcoin back that the ransom people wanted. I don't believe it. I'm not buying it. I don't think that we have that smart and quick forensics teams that they figured out some way to get the Bitcoin back. I think it was an inside job, but that's a conspiracy theory and I don't have any proof. So whatever. Ransomware cannot be used as a scare tactic to say we need to regulate Bitcoin more. Okay. Bitcoin seems to be the preferred coin for the ransomware events that we hear about, but it doesn't make any sense because it is not a private coin. If you know what you're doing, you can track down the address of people using the coin and you can prevent them from getting out of that address into a mixer where they can hide the identity of their transactions with other transactions. If you have a ransomware event and they're saying send $10 million in Bitcoin to this address, the second you do that, that address should be flagged. And which means that everybody on the Bitcoin network is blocking them from being able to use that transaction. Why would you do it any other way? But the point being, And the two other people who were testifying the day that Walch was testifying did a great job. And they said true things about crypto, and they had positive answers to the negative assumptions being made and the negative testimony being presented. Ransomware, should we ban cash? The answer is no. And it's not just a smart aleck answer and, what about this other thing kind of answer. It's literally the point that everybody should make. Ransomware is bad. Go after ransomwareers. Go after people that are trying to extort money from places. Get them. Find out the country they're in and send your SWAT team or your whatevers, extradition stuff, take care of it, make better laws to where if somebody does something bad to your economy that you can get them. Get them. They shouldn't do it. But you don't ban crypto because it could be used for ransomware and used much less privately or anonymously than cash. Cash is like the ultimate ransomware. Make a drop and you got it. And I mean, if you ask for unsequenced, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. Digital dollar, you think they're going to have a fun time trying to do ransomware with a CBDC? If there's a mixer, where there's technology, there's a way. But you go after ransomware as a bad thing happening. You don't go after the technology, the cryptocurrency that some of them like to use. Can you ban privacy coins for that purpose? Yeah. But I don't hear a lot of them using Zcash and Monero. So maybe we're not hearing about the real problems because they want the topic, they want the issue so that they can regulate the crap out of what we're trying to do. I don't think that they care about ransom. I think they care about manipulating people's fear about ransomware. ESG, the Sustainability Green Initiative crap. So Warren is really big on, Bitcoin uses more energy than the country I've never heard of before. Sure, there's a lot of things that use more energy than the country of what we've never heard of before. And I would like to know how many laptops Senator Warren owns, how many laptops and desktops does Angela Walch own, and why should they be allowed to use the internet? And what about companies that are running servers? How are you letting Amazon pass? How are you letting Google pass? See, the slippery slope is literal because we're talking about the underlying technology of these networks that absolutely should be doing what they're doing. And the rise of $1 trillion worth of industry depend on the flow of procedure and information happening through these things. I'm not wrong about this. You're not going to improve the market through regulation. When the market realizes that there are areas that it can improve upon, watch the efficiency pour in because people want to make more money dealing with cryptocurrency-centric, money-oriented things. Encourage that, and we can all get along. We will accept the minimum regulation that is required of us in order to take part in this incredible industry. But if you choke it out, then there's only one other version of this that happens, which is the digital dollar surveilling every single thing that we're all doing. And that's bad for everybody, including Walch, unless she's given a pass somehow. I don't want to make unfair comments or claims, but when you make yourself the enemy of something and you attack the technology and there's somebody who has an intelligent rebuttal, don't expect to be handled with kid gloves. No, we don't want more regulation. No, we don't need more regulation. You're wrong about the concerns about the bugs that need to be fixed because it's open source and everybody's working hard to fix them. And it's 10 times better than what we've got with the bugs that deal with SHA-256 in our bank accounts and how poorly those are managed compared to how well crypto is managed. Good crypto rises to the top. Ransomware, go after the ransomware people. Don't go after the money that they're using. Green initiatives are going to be driven by technology finding good solutions. I don't see you limiting cloud computing farms. I don't see you limiting server farms everywhere. I don't see you limiting Amazon. If you are, tell me about it. But if you drive people in a friendly direction towards renewable energies that make sense and efficiencies in energy use, that's great. But places like Oregon, California, other liberal progressive places are banning specific types of computers that have higher energy use. This is not just crypto, but of course, part of that is going to be for mining and ASIC specific things that are towards cryptocurrency. But anything that uses more power, the green police are after it. And I think it's ridiculous. It's wrong. It's not the right approach. You're going to force people out of local economies into places that are not insane, like FSOC and Warren, are either mentally disturbed by their deficiencies of believing in the type of socialism that they do, or just ignorant. Either way, there's no place for it in a free market. So that is my gentle massaging of the topic as it goes from Crypto Gordon Freeman. Do I have strong opinions? Yes. Are they unpopular with the people that love regulation? Yes. But I have seen it for myself that I like the fact that communities know how to look out for each other and they care about these issues, just like the people who are pretending to care about them from the outside looking in. Sorry, but I'm not very impressed with somebody's opinion on their halfway researched, partial facts in a market that not only do they not know enough about, but they refuse to take part in. Don't tell me about everything that's wrong about crypto when your profile says I own no crypto. And either that or you're warning everybody not to own any crypto. You're bad for the economy. You're bad for academics. And on that positive note, and otherwise extremely nice, likable Crypto Gordon Freeman for now.